Okay, hey, it is late at night and I forgot that I had promised that I would upload this. So, I'm gonna get right into explanation on gutturals. As usual, I'm always gonna start with disclaimers and things to be careful about, just because you're doing funky things with your voice, and it can cause pain. So, number one, I'm gonna assume that you've watched the videos before, and I'm going to teach the guttural scream as if you're using the throat singing method, not the forced sigh, not the grunt. I'll explain why. Because even if through that method you manage to get a good false chord scream that does not hurt, you're never going to be screaming exactly the same way twice, right? Different words, you may find that different words or pronunciations throw you off, and you mess up on certain words that you don't mess up on other ones, because you're doing things in your mouth and you have no room to experiment, because you close something off, you pinch something off, and then you're just sighing or you're grunting and you're forcing all that air, and you accidentally pinch something in your throat you're not supposed to, and then boom, pain, and then you're out of practice for the entire day. If you use the throat singing method, yeah, and tense something you're not supposed to while you're throat singing, yeah, it'll cut off, and you'll know you're done. You'll know that's incorrect. Try something else before you add that push, before you add all the force that's going to cause the pain and damage to your voice. So I can't tell you enough how much you want to do the throat singing method, especially when experimenting with other kinds of sounds in your false chord scream. So, okay, that out of the way. Gutturals. Once you've gotten to a basic false chord scream, gutturals are really simple. For most people. For me, I don't know if you can tell. It's hard to show. I'm tongue-tied. So the tip of my tongue is attached to the bottom. So I can't do as many fun things with gutturals, and they don't come as easy for me. But I can still do a little bit. And I'm going to show you how to do it, and you'll be able to experiment more. Because it's all about 3 or 4 things. It's about nasalization. It's about a pretty closed mouth, usually. And it's about your tongue shape. If you can do those and then add in a false chord, you are able to do a guttural. And you'll know what it sounds like. So, we're not pushing to make our false chord lower and lower and lower and hoping that if I just push hard enough, it becomes a guttural. Guttural has nothing to do with lowness or how hard you push. All the throat stuff that you need to know is how to make a false chord scream. Everything else you need to change above the throat. Okay? So it's achieved primarily by creating a pocket of air under your tongue. So you're going to want to try a tongue shape, moving your tongue where there's a pocket of air underneath it. So you're either going to want to touch the tip of your tongue to your top teeth, like that, or more the roof of your mouth. That's one that I can't do because I'm tongue-tied. You're going to want to stick out your tongue, or you're going to want to put the tip of your tongue up against your bottom teeth and arch it. Like that. Okay? That pocket of air underneath is going to create some of those overtones, some of those sounds, those vibrations. You'll hear it when it sounds right. It'll sound like kind of an echoey thing, and you'll be like, whoa, that's what it is. It's not more in my throat or more in my gut or anything. So, that's how you're going to make the main guttural sound. Is those pockets of air. And you see my cheeks inflating because I'm blowing a lot of air. And then you'll have a very closed mouth shape. Because of that closed mouth shape, sometimes the guttural can get kind of cut off and muffled, just like the one that I just did. So, you still have to keep the closed mouth shape because it has to be that low, gurgly guttural sound. So what you're going to want to do is to get some extra volume, you're going to want to do that throat singing sound and shift it up into your nasal cavities so you're getting extra vibration. And the best way that I can think to do that is to get your normal throat singing. Yeah. And think, pretend you're French. So say like, bon, bonjour, bon, bon, bon. You feel that? How your nasal cavity's kind of open? And then practice doing that with your throat singing. Yeah. 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 And you'll feel your nose vibrating like crazy. But that's a good thing. And then try and get it in both your nose and your normal throat singing. Somewhere in between. After that, combine, mess around with the tongue shapes to see what sounds good to you. And start to put them together. So, false chord. Yeah. Is the throat singing plus that. So, yeah. Yeah. And then tongue. Bottom teeth arched. Small mouth. And then, flared nostrils, make the face. Vibrate. Do the throat singing up in the nose. And what you're going to try to do is try to aim the air. You don't want it too low, because then you will get the guttural sound, but you'll get a very spitty sound, because it'll vibrate your tongue like crazy. And I do this by accident all the time. You get the right sound, but you also vibrate the tongue a lot. Try and aim almost like, it's hard to explain. You want to get that pocket of air, but you also want to use the nose, almost like you're like shooting past and barely grazing the tongue. And you want to aim up and then combine all of those together. So, tongue, closed mouth, teeth showing, nasal cavities open. Lots of weird sounds. You're just going to have to experiment till it sounds right. And remember, experiment with the throat singing. Try and get that guttural sound before you go all out with the scream. That way you don't hurt your throat.